My name is Michael Barry. I am from just outside Glengormley, basically right beside Belfast Zoo. And I studied at the University of Ulster, computer science, late 80s to early 90s. I left Northern Ireland on the 17th of August 1992. I don't think anyone ever forgets the day they emigrated. At that time, I had two brothers living in Toronto, so it was very easy for me to have accommodations when I got here. I did go through the regular application process and sponsorship, but it all went very quickly, and found myself here in '92, and this was my 27th year. So I studied computer science at University of Ulster, as I mentioned, and when I got to Canada, one of the companies that my eldest brother was working for was a broadcast organization, and they just started a technical facility in the east end of the city that required someone to know their way around a computer. And so I applied and got the role, and it was essentially a technical operator role. But it was my way into broadcasting, and I did that for about 2 years. I did some work in the film festival sector at an organization called Hot Docs. And if you don't know Hot Docs, it's the second largest documentary film festival in the world. I believe it's #1 in North America. And somewhere in the mix of all of that, the Toronto Irish Film Festival was born. So through those roles in broadcasting within Canada, I'd always been really lucky being invited to specific film festivals and parties and all of that stuff. My business partner and I just sort of looked around and figured it would be really wonderful if we could create an opportunity for Irish filmmakers in Toronto, and that was essentially the start of it. And in 2020, next year will be our 10th anniversary, so I'd like to think we've been doing okay with the film festival execution, but it is just the Toronto Irish Film Festival is a real opportunity for me to bring all the skill sets that I have into one project that I truly love, and that's supporting the work of Irish filmmakers, whether you're from the north of Ireland or whether you're from the south of Ireland. Through the festival, there's certainly been a real opportunity to watch the development of film in Northern Ireland, and we have partnered with Northern Ireland Screen over the years. I mean, I don't think anyone could have foresaw the global hit that Game of Thrones has been. But I think it's a real testament to what is probably world known as a hard-working Northern Ireland determination on set. The stories that we hear from cast and crew during the Game of Thrones wrap-up finale for this year has been that they loved working with the Northern Ireland crew. Geographically, there are few sites on the planet that look as beautiful as Northern Ireland as long as the sun is shining. And something like Derry Girls is fantastic. It's just one of those shows that I don't even think you need to be from Northern Ireland in the early 80s or have lived there during that period to laugh at it. But I think that if you are from Northern Ireland and you did grow up during the Troubles, you not only laugh at it, but you can have a little weep as well, because it's so nuanced in how it treats the Troubles as a subject matter. For the film festival, when we started out, we were very conscious of being non-partisan. Our goal was to support filmmakers from the north and the south, east and west. When it comes to movies, we wanted to be very careful about those politically themed movies that we ever screened. We've gotten a little braver over the years. One of the things that we have noticed is that there's just an everlasting appetite for Northern Irish themed stories, whether they be Trouble focused or not. Well, living in Canada is obviously very different from living in Northern Ireland. And I can remember when I first emigrated to Canada, not only was it a beautiful day like today, I was fooled into thinking that that's what the weather would be like always. Culturally, I think the differences are pretty vast. I think you could talk to anyone who's Northern Irish and who's lived here over any amount of time, and they'll talk about, the Northern Irish humour and the Northern Irish wit and the Northern Irish ability to banter. Sometimes doesn't sit well, sometimes gets a little bit misunderstood. I've had to learn to be a little more gentle over the years when I interact with people. But life in Canada has been very good to me. Don't get me wrong, it's been really wonderful. The only thing that I really haven't gotten used to after 27 years is the 7-month-long winters. So that still is quite grating. I go home as often as I can. I'm going home next month, actually, to visit my parents. All of my family that I was born into, the family that I was born into, all live there still. They have all my two brothers that I mentioned earlier who did live here at one point have moved back. But as I get older, I miss my family. I miss my parents and I miss my brothers a lot. That becomes more important as I get older. I mean, regardless of where I travel, Belfast will always be my hometown, and that will never change.